Visit Sailrite.com for all your project supplies, tools, and instructions.
Hi, I'm Eric Grant with Sailrite. In this tutorial video, we're going to show you how to install semi-tubular rivets using the HandyPress.
With this die set, you can punch the hole and set the rivet in your leather application with one depression of the HandyPress lever. When the rivet is installed, a splash is created on one end of the rivet to securely lock the rivet in your leather application. The other side, the rivet's cap.
Okay, before we get started, if you're doing a really super thick application where it takes the 9/16 inch rivet, you'll need to watch all the way to the end because it is not done in the same way that the two smaller post links are done. So make sure you watch all the way to the end if you want to know how to install it for thick leather applications, like 3 layers of this 9 to 10 ounce.
Before we get started, you need to know that the HandyPress may just be the best hand press ever made. Besides the fact that it takes almost any brand die set made for any brand hand press, it has some major advantages that other hand presses don't even come close to matching. I highly recommend you watch the demo video showing the amazing features of the HandyPress. To see it, click the link in the description or in the upper right hand corner of this video. And now let's show you how these dies work. Let's first take a look at the dies. The lower die houses the rivet, while the upper die creates the splash. When setting these semi-tubular rivets, it's important to know what sizes are available and what will work with your particular leather assembly thickness. When selecting the length of your rivet, the clinch allowance or stick out is what's most important. Your goal is to have approximately 2 to 4 millimeters of rivet sticking out from your assembly for a secure rivet installation. With that said, it's time to load the dies in the HandyPress and show you how they work. On the side of the HandyPress, we'll take the adapter for the lower die and install it in the base of the HandyPress, as seen here. The lower die is marked with an L to indicate that it's the lower die, and it has a plunger. That plunger should be facing up. Insert it into the adapter. Then tighten down the thumb screw to secure it in place. Now we'll take the upper die, or the splash die, and insert it in the lower post of the HandyPress, and use the thumb screw to lock it in place. We'll begin by inserting a rivet in a 9 to 10 ounce single layer of leather. First, we need to set the compression on the HandyPress. To do this, place your leather assembly between the upper and lower dies and depress the lever. Because the splash die has a raised center punch, I like to set the compression with the flesh side up or in a scrap piece that has the same thickness because it will leave a little dimple in the leather. Your goal is to raise or lower the upper shaft by turning it to the left or the right until the plunger on the lower die is compressed all the way and the upper die rests firmly on top of the leather assembly. Once that is achieved, you have now reached the sweet compression, which makes it easy to pull the lever and set the rivet and punch the hole all at the same time. Whatever your thickness assembly, when that is achieved, the lever on the HandyPress should be all the way down, as seen here. We'll load the lower die with a rivet. This is the 5/16 inch rivet, and we'll decide which side we want the cap on. We're going to put the cap on the grain side, so the grain side is facing down and the flesh side is facing up, though it could be reversed. Simply pull the lever all the way down for that sweet spot compression, and your semi-tubular rivet is now installed. And now, since the HandyPress is set up for this single layer assembly with the sweet compression, all we have to do is load the die, position our leather, depress the lever, and your rivet is installed as simple as 1, 2, 3. Next, we'll set the HandyPress for 2 layers of this thick leather assembly. We position the leather between the 2 dies, and we need the lever to be all the way down, so we need to raise the upper die by turning it to the right, and then test again for our sweet compression. With the plunger depressed, the upper die on top of our leather assembly, and the lever all the way down, we know we have the right compression. We're going to load the next size rivet. This is the 7/16 inch rivet. No need to punch a hole, simply lower the lever of the HandyPress, and your semi-tubular rivet is installed with a beautiful looking splash. So that's how you do it for the 5/16 and 7/16 inch rivet. But the 9/16 inch rivet is a little bit different. And here we are setting up for this sweet compression for 3 layers of this thick leather assembly. Once that is achieved with our 3 layers, we're going to take the 3 layers to a cutting board, stack them on top of each other, and then punch a hole where we want that rivet to be installed with an awl. Do not use a hole cutter, just a small hole is all you need. Make sure you go all the way through the leather so the awl sticks out the bottom. This does 2 things. It lines up all the leather, and it also makes it possible to set the extra long length of the post, 9/16 inch semi-tubular rivet, without bending. This time we'll load the lower die with that rivet, and we will take our leather assembly and press it up on the upper die on top of our splash. There is a raised center, and we want the awl hole to be over top of the raised center. Then we lower the lever with the leather on the top die, and then it comes down upon the plunger and sets that rivet. And that is the best way to install these extra long semi-tubular rivets without bending. Let's do it one more time. Load the lower die. Take the leather assembly with the hole pre-punched with the awl. Place it on the upper die so that it's centered on the center punch of the splash. Lower the lever while the leather is coming down upon the plunger until it goes all the way down, and your semi-tubular rivet is installed beautifully. And that's how you do it for the extra 9/16 inch rivet, which is difficult to install unless done exactly as you see here. The HandyPress will also work with multiple other brands and types of dies. We hope this video has been helpful. Check out our website to find out what other types and brands of dies will work with the HandyPress.